Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to the Indiana State Police Roadshow. I am your host, Sergeant John Perrine, Public Information Officer for the Indianapolis District. The Roadshow is brought to you each and every week by the Indiana State Police Alliance and Cops for Kids, a subsidiary of the State Police Alliance. For more information about our sponsor, please visit them at www.indianasfinest.com. Once again, got to thank Mr. Tom Trial for his efforts to get us visually on YouTube each and every week. He sets up a lot of cameras, does a lot of work on editing, just to bring this to you visually each and every week. So thank you, Tom. My guest today, we're going to be talking some truck driving safety, semi-commercial vehicles, however you want to say it. Got Lieutenant Tyler Utterback from the Indiana State Police Commercial Vehicle Enforcement Division and Barb Hunt from Indiana Motor Truck Association. Thanks for coming.
Yep. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
So let's start we're talking truck safety, but we recently did a special patrol. Ty, explain to us what the special patrol, not only how we did it, but what are the goals?
Well, so this is something that we've done in the past. Some other states have done this. It has some positive effects. Basically what we're doing is we're, through the generosity of one of the members of the IMTA, provided to us a truck driver with a full-size tractor trailer for basically the day. We took one of our officers, put them in the cab with the driver, and obviously equipped with a few of our special pieces of equipment and a radio. Got a network of troopers out there just kind of laying in wait for us to come by with the tractor trailer. And what we're watching for is very aggressive or dangerous behaviors from our drivers on our highways out there in and around in the vicinity of a commercial motor vehicle. We've all seen it, getting cut off, tailgating, changing lanes, all these behaviors as though that this large vehicle can just react to some kind of whatever actions of this other driver, and they just can't. So we're trying to do that. We hear all the time from the drivers that we stop. Hey, why didn't you stop this guy? Why didn't you stop that guy? So we do this a lot. We do a lot of commercial vehicle enforcement. Obviously, it's in our name. But we have a large focus on the non-commercial vehicles driving around these trucks.
And that's exactly what this project's about. And it's all in the name of safety. We can't pretend that all truck drivers are perfect. We can't pretend that all smaller car drivers are perfect, but we all have to get along, and we all have to share the roads with each other. And people need to have an understanding of the maneuverability or lack of maneuverability of a truck. 80,000 pounds doesn't stop quickly.
Nope.
So if you're fighting for that one more spot to merge or that one more through the green light or through the yellow light, you have to understand that truck needs a lot more room. And so that's kind of where you guys come in about truck safety and not only teaching drivers how to drive themselves safely, but how to anticipate the other drivers around them.
Right. So we are obviously part of the trucking industry, but we do so much more than drive trucks and move commerce down the road. And like you said, and like Captain Utterback said, it's all about safety, and that's our core focus. And so it's, I think it's a good event for us to partner with the state police because it says a lot, I think, about our relationship between the trucking industry and the state police to be able to, for me to call one of my members to say, hey, we have this initiative. Would you like to participate? That's exciting to them. So that's a good thing for us because the drivers tell us all the time, here's what I'm seeing on the roadway. So, it's a good thing that we did.
Yeah, right. And so sometimes the perception is sometimes that we target trucks or target truck drivers, especially in the network of professional drivers. But I can tell you the overall numbers would be overwhelmingly in favor of we pull over more cars and pickup trucks and SUVs than we do semi-tractors. Now, here's part of the reason I think there is this perception is the average time of a stop of a car on the side of the road is probably 3 or 4 minutes. The average time of a semi is probably 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So you're going to see more trucks on the side of the road just by matter of time.
That's right.
And also what people might not understand is there are different laws. There are federal laws that govern commercial vehicles, and there's also state laws, of course, versus mostly just state laws for motor vehicles. So kind of explain, there's federal funding, there's a division, kind of explain your role and our role in commercial vehicle enforcement.
So the federal government has the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, and they have a whole set of rules that are designed for truck and bus commerce, interstate, and we've adopted those regulations to apply for in-state commerce as well. Things that go as far as the proper license type, being physically qualified to be able to operate a larger vehicle like that, hours of operation, the amount of time that you can physically be behind the wheel, some insurance requirements, and obviously there's some other things as well that would be common, like seatbelt usage, and of course we also have our hazardous materials stuff that we have to focus on as well. So you're right, it will take a stop. Sometimes it's prompted by a traffic violation, and then go through all of these different parts of the regulations. And it gets documented and sent to the federal government. Yeah,
because, it's unfortunate. And what I always tell people is most of the time in a crash, if a semi is involved, somebody's hurt. I mean, most of the time. Because of the sheer size, the weight, and all those things. And so that's why it's so important that it's not less important that we focus on motor vehicles, but the semi drivers really have to mind their P's and Q's, because those crashes are devastating.
And the amount of time that they spend on the road, and some companies do very well with the maintenance of their equipment and the hiring process of very responsible, good drivers. But of course, you've got some companies out there that are,
they cut the corners.
It's the mighty dollar. They're trying to, they do cut corners.
And they don't realize that they've cut the corners until it's too late. Until they're faced with a serious crash. And so, Barb, you mentioned earlier something about a truck rodeo. So explain to me what a truck rodeo is. Is it just for fun, or is there a safety purpose behind it?
They're both, I suppose. So it actually used to be called the truck rodeo. It's now called the Truck Driving Championship, and we actually align it with another event, which is our Technician Championship. So over a 2-day period, we have 2 events going on. Technicians are working on station problems for maintenance, and then our truck drivers are outside. We partner with Lincoln College of Technology, and we have 2 courses set up, and truck drivers will take different pieces of equipment through the courses and maneuver around 9 problems. They also both do a written test. So it's a lot of fun. It's a huge event. We had 750 people at the banquet this year. Wow. We also partner with the state police on that. They come and they volunteer their time. So it's great because we put them on pre-trip, and I think they have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's really neat. It's a neat day because you really get to see these guys, those competitive juices really coming out, and
they get to show off their skills.
They do.
I mean, that's they spend a lot of time behind the wheel of that truck, driving safely, driving cautiously, and now this is an opportunity for them to say, "Hey, I am a good driver. Watch this."
Yeah, I'm for sure that there's guys that go to those competitions every year that are thinking about it all throughout the year, not only trying to be a representative for their company, so they have to be in good standing, I'm sure, in that way, but just practicing their craft, and it's pretty amazing what they could do with some of those big pieces of equipment.
Yeah. And so this detail that we did, and we do often, where we put a trooper inside of a semi, essentially undercover. I mean, the concept is a lot of time people give us a hard time, like, "Oh, you're trying to hide," or "I don't know why you use unmarked cars." And I say it's kind of like fishing, right? If you want to catch the big fish, you got to use the best lure.
That's right.
And that's exactly what this is. If we followed a semi around in a fully marked state police car, people aren't going to drive as aggressively around them as they do if we're sitting inside. And that's what the goal is.
That's right. That's right. And like I said, we hear from drivers all the time, that they see this, and they see all this bad activity. And one of them is using the cell phone. Yeah. Now, obviously, that may create a lot of other statutes that we enforce. Being distracted like that's going to cause you to leave your lane or run up on top of a vehicle, or even forget that there's a big truck in the area.
And you talk about cell phones, and that's an important topic because that is one of the few major differences between state law and federal law, right? Semi-drivers are not allowed to have a phone in their hand.
That's
They're not
correct.
allowed to have it up to their ear. They're not allowed to have it in their hand.
That's correct.
Whereas state law allows our Indiana drivers to do that.
Yeah. And we are going to be focusing on the non-commercial driver.
Right. That's right. That's what this is about.
But we probably, we do take, and we're not going to ignore when we see a commercial driver doing.
Well, you're going to be up higher. You're going to see things.
That's
you're going to see seatbelt violations. You're going to see cell phone violations and things like that. So again, how does it work? You've got a trooper inside of a semi just driving around on the interstate. How do you coordinate the stops?
So obviously we have come up with a loop that we've done in the past, and we try to make sure that we've got plenty of exits where maybe a trooper could be stationed at, and they just kind of hang in that area. And as we come up to them in the commercial vehicle, we just call out the violator that we see. It usually happens often enough that we keep everybody kind of moving. We'll have, on a typical detail like this, 8 to 10 different guys.
Yeah.
And we'll just keep making that loop, and like we did on this one, we just kind of keep going different directions and then coming back through again. And by the time we come back around, one guy's already done printing out his driving certificate.
And again, the focus of this is watching for those drivers who cut off the semis, who tailgate the semis. I've stopped cars before who get so close to the back of a semi and they say, hey, I'm trying to draft. I want to save gas mileage. And that's not a safe thing. Not only do you limit your visibility, but you're stopping
That's
ability.
the thing. I mean, falling too close is a bad enough deal. When you can halfway see around the vehicle, or me even possibly through the vehicle for stopping lights or brake lights up ahead. But when you're behind a big truck like that, you're totally blind.
Yeah, and it is. And we, as a trooper who investigates these crashes, even the minor ones, sometimes it's hard to see what happened before the crash. And so maybe somebody changed lanes in front of a semi and then slams on their brakes. The semi rear ends the car. The evidence on the scene and everything I've ever been taught leads me to believe it's at the semi's fault for following too close. It's really hard. And what's nice is a lot of semis now are equipped with dash cams, and they're able to say, hey, look what this car did to us. So if you're a car driving around a semi, keep that in mind as A, you're probably on camera, and B, they can't stop quick.
We actually even put a radar unit in the truck so we could get it put out, do a calibration check on it real quick, get the speeds on. But so I'm kind of a numbers guy, and we're not just by the seat of our pants just pulling people over for different violations. We know that about 90 to 95% of all crashes are some kind of driver error. And when it's involving a commercial motor vehicle and a non-commercial motor vehicle, more than half the time it's the non-commercial motor vehicle driver is at fault.
Yeah.
So even though we are the Commercial Vehicle Enforcement Division, we know from crash statistics what some of these violations of law are actually causing the crashes, and those are the ones that we're going to focus on. And on days like this detail that we did, we're just focusing mostly on those violations: falling too close, unsafe lane change, and
just
really
simple
just
things
speed.
like not using your turn signal. I mean, that turn signal is so valuable to let that truck driver know, hey, I need to change lanes. Maybe my exit's coming up, or maybe there's somebody behind me that I need to get out of the way for. Can you please let off your gas a little and give me a little room? And that turn signal to that semi driver is enough to say, hey, I appreciate you using that. I'm going to back off and let you in instead of just zipping over.
Yep, it means a lot.
Yeah,
they can't read your mind. That's why they put the turn signals on.
That's right. That's right. Well, Lieutenant Tyler Odebeck and Barb Hunt, thanks for coming. We got about 40 seconds left. So this event is the first of many. You see future partnerships with this?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I mean, it is kind of an expensive endeavor, and IMTA has a network of members that are gracious enough to give us. I mean, a driver and a truck. I mean, the only reason why they have those guys is to make money.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're spending it out there trying to.
Well, thank you very much again for coming. This has been a great conversation about commercial vehicle safety, not just for the truck drivers. Even though it looks like they think we target them, we don't. It's about everybody and sharing the road and reducing those crashes. So again, thanks for coming. Indiana State Police Roadshow is out.